Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on July 28, 2016. First of all, saying sorry that this is coming out a little bit later than I expected. Had a busy weekend, plus had to spend some time doing a few other things. I have obviously watched the show, and I'm going to do the Impact review for you here. It is Sunday as of this recording. But with that being said, let's get right into the review and what happened on TNA Impact this week. They started off the show with Matt Hardy coming out there and cutting a promo saying that Jeff, basically calling out Jeff and everything. He comes out to that typical same music and Rebby calling him obsolete again throughout the entire time. I'm actually really liking where they're going with this. Obviously, it's not going to kill the feud with Matt and Jeff, which again I felt like should have ended long before the final deletion happened, but is going to continue on. But Matt basically saying, "Oh, Jeff, you're going to help me beat EC3 this week," and Jeff was trying to not get involved in any way, but Matt was like, "I don't need your help, but I'm demanding your help anyway." In this area, because he owns Jeff, his intellectual property and everything in that sense. This prompts EC3 to come out. They both start. He starts cutting a promo on Matt Hardy, or the broken Matt Hardy. Now, God, I love the facial reactions that Matt Hardy had when EC3 came out, and then EC3 just kind of retorted him right back. He cut his basic bit of sayings like, "Jeff, I don't have a problem with you, but if you get involved, obviously then we're going to have a problem," and everything like that. We're going to see something like that probably come in a little bit later on in the show as well. So Matt basically says something in lines of, "I'm going to beat you and eat your cats," or something like that, which prompted EC3's like, "Okay, you can talk crap about me all you want, but once you bring in, I forget the cat's name off the top of my head, but as soon as that happened, it's like, oh, it's on, so let's get this Bound for Glory playoff match over with and do it now." So the match between Matt Hardy and EC3, was a pretty decent match. I thought it was a relatively good. It was a relatively good match. Throughout the entire match, you had EC3 playing up an injury angle to his ankle, and he played it up pretty well throughout the entire thing. So relatively dominated by Matt Hardy, a little bit back and forth here and there, but kind of getting stuffed by Matt Hardy in most cases. It does eventually lead to where Rebby Sky was trying to get involved and slid and handed the hammer to Jeff Hardy, who just slides it into the ring. This is like to the point that Matt's going to pick it up. He gets stopped by EC3, and that's how EC3 ends out winning the match. Is at that time hitting his finisher and ending the match itself. So, like I said, relatively decent match. They cut another promo backstage with Matt and Jeff, basically saying that Matt's going to punish Jeff for his transactions and everything like that. And he's like, "What is worse than deletion?" And it was getting to the point of like Matt's like trying to push Jeff into being in a broken state, just like Matt is in a way. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it down the road here. It'll be interesting if they do go to a point where it's like, oh, Jeff's broken and maybe he goes heel to go along with it, or anything in that sense. We'll see where everything goes with it. As you had probably also seen, and you see it through here, the way they always shot the Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy stuff, they're using that for more areas, and I'm not sure if that's going to make its novelty necessarily go away in any way, because, like I said, the final deletion and that stuff was relatively well shot, and its over-the-top campiness also kind of made it into a rather good thing, at least in my personal opinion. But they started doing this again with two more segments, and they're going to continue it on next week in this style of shooting, backstage vignette, or not backstage vignette, but out of the ring vignettes, kind of like Lucha Underground or some other areas. But they're doing it with Rosemary and Bram, and it's basically Rosemary giving her backstory of why she is what she is. It's shot really weird. Like they try to pitch it off as oh, she's a young girl during this, though it's Rosemary herself actually playing the character. At that time, they don't like have her as like a little kid or anything in that sense. It's basically her playing it the entire time, saying, and like they go through this whole tragic story of like her mom saying, "Oh, don't worry, your cat's gonna be fine," when the cat was sick, and then and everything like that, which spiraled her down to like what happened inside of a particular barn, and we get to find out what that is next week. So it's kind of telling the story, giving the backstory of actually why Rosemary is basically with Decay, and she's telling Bram this. So either this is going to be her way of trying to get Bram to join Decay, or it's going to be like the way that they get Rosemary out of it or something in that sense. I don't know where they're exactly going with it. It was a very interesting couple of segments in there, and I mean, we'll see where they go with it. I'm hoping this doesn't lose its novelty the way they've been doing this, but we'll see how everything goes with that down the road here. So back to what was going on inside of the Impact Zone. You had Gail Kim going up against Madison Rayne after what happened last week, where Madison Rayne attacked Gail Kim from behind, saying it wasn't personal, it was business. And you had a backstage vignette beforehand saying Madison Rayne talking with Allie and Maria. It's like was it? You had Madison Rayne trying to figure out what she's going to get if she happens to beat Gail Kim. It's like Maria refuses to tell her until it actually happens or anything in that sense. You also have like a crazy moment. It's like, oh, Allie has to go up and introduce Maria. It's like, but Maria's like, you don't have to do that anymore. It's like, it's even getting to the point that the Allie character is annoying Maria to a certain extent. It's an interesting way where what they're going with that particular character, and it'll be interesting to see how that one goes off. The match with Madison Rayne and Gail Kim, I thought was a really good one. I thought the match, it was given time, and the match itself just came off really good. It was very fluid, and nothing really to complain about. Obviously, Gail Kim goes over in this case, and obviously to continue on her aspect of going after the Knockouts title again in there. So we'll see what they decide to do next, whether it's like, because there aren't really that many knockouts outside, like full-time knockouts outside of like Jade, Gail, Madison Rayne, and you also have Marty Bell, Sienna, and Allie to go along with it. So, I mean, they have enough to, like, just have you go through that entire thing, but are they going to bring in others or anything like that for this particular thing to go down the road? So we'll see where they go with it. Again, it's like I usually say, we'll see where they go with it. It's not bad by any stretch. The match was good this week, so we'll see how the storyline continues, whether it goes into a match with Gail Kim and Sienna one more time, or is it going to actually lead into the match with Gail Kim and Maria down the road here? So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see where they go with everything. You had Moose go up against David Starr in a rather quick match, basically Moose's debut match, and again, basically just to show off his moves. You have Michael Bennett get on the microphone and start talking up Moose, and Bobby Lashley comes out, and they decide to, and Moose doesn't grab the microphone at all in this one. It's all Bennett hyping him up and everything, and talking. It's like, oh, do you guys want the Bobby Lashley versus Moose match and everything? It's like hyping people up to only deny them in the end. Well, obviously that's where they're going to go before they have any kind of program with them down the road here. So we'll see how that one goes. But afterwards, after Moose and Bobby Lashley go away, or not go away, but Moose and Bennett go away because he walks them out after the fact that, he has a match later. And Bobby Lashley gets on the mic saying, I'm going to have all the gold eventually. Like, I want all the gold. He has the X Division title. He has the World Heavyweight title. And we'll see where And we'll see if they actually have something where he actually garners the King of the Mountain title, because I'll talk about that a little bit later to go along with it. But challenges anyone to come out and prove him wrong, basically, which DJZ comes out. And he had won the number one contendership match at Destination X, and he basically challenges for his match right now. Bobby Lashley so confident saying, you can pick whatever match you want. And DJZ picks a ladder match. The ladder match itself was actually a pretty good ladder match. I like the power spots from Bobby Lashley. Like, you're used to seeing a bunch of high-flying spots and everything like that, which you saw from DJZ in a ladder match, but to see the power spots of him lifting the ladder with DJZ on it, or anything in that way, was a really nice change to a ladder match, and I was glad to see it. Obviously, Bobby Lashley goes over here, and he continues on with the X Division title. This brings me to Eli Drake's promo. Eli Drake is doing a Fact of Life promo and everything like that. And he cuts a promo on Bobby Lashley. And again, he goes on an aspect of saying that no one, just like Bobby Lashley was saying before he got interrupted by DJC, so it almost felt a little bit out of place, but it's also continuing on that story where they with the people that they were typically working with beforehand. Obviously, Lashley's going to be working with probably a few more of the X Division guys, but Eli Drake was working with James Storm, and he gets interrupted by James Storm saying, after saying no one can beat me for this title, James Storm comes out, and they have another great promo. I love the promos between the two, and they have great chemistry in the terms of their talking, and it leads to James Storm accepting a match that Eli is like, he wants another shot at the King of the Mountain title. Eli Drake's like, you know what, I'll only do it under one thing. Basically, he didn't want to have to see the beer or see James Storm or hear the music anymore. Basically, I'm feeling like it's a title versus career match coming up between Storm and Eli Drake. And it could be and that could be a really fun one. I'd like to see a full match from them, not one that just ends in DQ between the two of them, because these two have been cutting really good promos, and I would like to see a little bit more from it, and we'll see when this match actually happens. And actually, before I talk about the main event spot of the night, we had Decay versus the Bromance, and I'm not shocked that it's still going on. But they advertise. They say it's a Monsters Ball match, and you have them brawling outside before, and it's like, I just wish there was better build up to these gimmick matches. They seem to always have a gimmick match on a weekly basis, and it's my one downfall with Impact is that they feel like they have to do a gimmick match. You had a ladder match, and now you have a Monsters Ball match, so you have a weapons match to go along with it. And don't get me wrong, these matches are fine, and this one was good too. But it's like they do them so often, and in most cases, even like Ultimate X matches, there's no real build up to them. It's like, oh, they're doing this match now. Okay. Decay wins this match. I think that's the right choice. No Rosemary to be involved in any way. So they're kind of working this whole aspect that Decay's away from Rosemary while she's doing this thing with Bram off on the side. So we'll see where they go with all of that, and see if they even continue on with this Bromance and Decay storyline. But like I said, I just wish there was more build up to these gimmick matches, because they can end up being even better in that sense. At least in my mind, like, you have a build up to it, and all of a sudden that match becomes more important. It becomes better in that sense. But overall, this was a pretty good weapons match. But again, it's like gimmick match out of nowhere. It is what it is in that sense. It is what it is in that sense of everything. So this leads me into, well, actually, one more thing. They're doing this fixer hotline for Tyrus. They're calling him the Fixer, and I get it. He's a monster. But they're just portraying him as like a hired gun. Like It could make this work to where he's going after world championships, but all I care about is being a hired gun. Okay. I'm not sure how I necessarily like it. We'll see where everything goes. With that, you had a quick thing with Muhammad Ali Shira and Grado trying to get him to help out again. He names his price and they can't pay it, so he's not going to help them or something in that sense. So we'll see where everything goes. But I mean, the actual promo for his Fixer hotline is pretty hilarious. It's just like him spouting off. It's like, what do you need fixing? I can do it. I can do it. And you have this little kid on a keyboard at the end with a headset on pretending to take calls. It's kind of hilarious. I find that a little bit funny. But I just don't know if I like that gimmick down the road. We'll see how everything goes with that. Again, I say we'll see how everything goes. This leads into the main event of the night, which was Drew Galloway and Michael Bennett. We already have one of the Bound for Glory playoff matches beforehand. We're having the second semifinal now with Bennett and Drew Galloway. You had a Drew Galloway promo backstage earlier with EC3. EC3 offers up his help, but he's like, you know how this goes. I don't necessarily want your help out there, even though Moose will probably get involved, because every time they seem to try to help each other, they end up hitting each other. In that sense. And lo and behold, what happens in this match? Well, one, a lot of interference, because you have Maria, who's already out there. She does her typical thing. Moose comes out when it looks like when Bennett's about to lose, which prompts EC3 to just come out anyway. So the match ends with a kendo stick being slid in the ring by either Maria or Moose. As EC3 takes out Moose, he comes into the ring, grabs the kendo stick, goes to swing at Bennett, ends out hitting Galloway. Bennett wins the match. What you typically thought was going to end up happening in that sense. This main event, I like Drew Galloway. I do. I like EC3. But with the aspect of having to continually have the crazy amount of run-ins in this one, it just came off as just okay. This match was just okay. And another thing I have to really wonder here is like, okay, they've announced, obviously they did the quarterfinals for the Bound for Glory playoffs already. They've done the semifinals, and they announced next week, it's three, that the finals are going to happen. So it's going to be not Galloway, but it's going to be Bennett and EC3 in the finals. When's Bound for Glory? I just figured that out. They have not actually announced a real date for Bound for Glory. And I went to go look at their website. It's like they don't really have anything announced for that. They have stuff for their next set of tapings in August, which I'm assuming is going to lead up to that, but that's going to leave you with about 2 months to build up everything, which could be good. Don't get me wrong, could be good if they do it in their typical time in October. But the factor that they haven't announced a date, a time, or basically just a date and where at for Bound for Glory makes me wonder if they're going to actually do pay-per-view style, or are they going to do what they do for a lot of these other ones like Destination X and Genesis and everything else, and make it a TV special, basically. That's what worries me right now, is that they're going to do some kind of TV special, and this is supposed to be their biggest event of the year. They haven't even, like, from what I can tell on the website and anywhere else, they have not announced a date, and they have not announced a place. And usually they would have done that by now, and it's usually in October. And we're pretty close to October. It's only a couple months away. Now, granted, like I said, if they have, if that's their plan, is to do it in October and have a slow burn for the world title matches for a big pay-per-view payoff, good way of going. I just hope they announce everything relatively soon in the terms of the place and the date for Bound for Glory. So we'll see how everything goes on that side. But if they do it as a TV special, it's going to be rather disappointing in every way, shape, or form. And like I said, we can just wait and see on that one. That's my little gripe with everything right now. Is like, you are announcing this Bound for Glory playoff, but there's no date and there's no place for Bound for Glory. We need this. We need this right now. But otherwise, relatively good Impact show this week. A little bit of quirkiness here and there. Like I said, the matches were fine. There's just small gripes that I wish they would do to build and make some of these matches seem more important on the Impact shows themselves. But we'll see how everything goes. That's how I usually say everything. This week was good. Well, hopefully they'll continue that on to next week with other matches and everything. And that is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling this week. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.